Hey friends, this is your personal English coach Divyam here, and today I'm gonna explain the frog and the nightingale in detail. On my screen you can see a nightingale and you can hear it singing so beautifully. It is so beautiful, isn't it? This is found in various parts of Asia and Africa, and the sound is so delightful. But unfortunately, in the poem, a frog is going to destroy this bird. Let's see how. Once upon a time, a frog croaked away in Bengal bog. Every night from dusk to dawn, he croaked on and on and on. So here you can imagine a wet, muddy area where there is this frog who is croaking. So the sound made by a frog is called croaking, and Bengal actually means a collision, but here it is just used to create a poetic effect. Bog, as I said, is a wet, muddy ground, and every night, so just before sunset and just before sunrise, so till this period, this frog would go on croaking and making sounds, and he used to croak non-stop. So right from dusk to dawn, non-stop at regular intervals, he used to croak. Other creatures loathed his voice, but alas, they had no choice. So other creatures living in that area, they did not like the frog's voice, but they had no choice because they were living there. And the crass cacophony blared out from the sumac tree. Crass is unintelligent, cacophony is harsh sounds. So if you listen to a frog, the sound made by a frog is actually unintelligent and it is harsh. So it blared out. So if there's a speaker and if it is throwing out loud sounds, we say that the speakers are blaring. And the tree where this takes place is sumac tree. It is a type of tree. At whose foot the frog each night minstrelled on till morning night. So minstrel is a type of an entertainer. So it's not actually entertaining in this context, but it's what the frog thinks. The frog thinks that it is entertaining people. So this word minstrelled is used, and he used to continue making noise till the morning. Neither stones nor prayers nor sticks, insults or complaints or breaks stilled the frog's determination. So there were animals who were fed up of his voice, who were fed up of his croaking non-stop and continuous and disgusting. What they did is they threw stones. Some animals, they prayed for the frog to stop. Some animals threw sticks at it. Some animals insulted it. Some animals complained to the higher authorities of the jungle. Some animals also threw bricks at it, but the frog was very determined. It wanted to croak on and on and on. It did not stop even when these things happened. To display his heart's elation. So that means it constantly showed its heart's happiness. So the frog thought that it was entertaining others, but actually it was not. It was actually annoying everybody around. Elation is great happiness. So it was croaking, and by that it was very happy. But one night, a nightingale, in the moonlight, cold and pale, perched upon the sumac tree. So here we see that there's a little bird which we just saw minutes ago. It came and sat on this tree, on the branch of this tree, and casting forth her melody, it started singing the sound we heard a few minutes ago. So it started singing melodiously. Casting means cause to take effect. Forth is out and away from starting point. So the words means it started singing her melody. Dumbstruck sat the gaping frog. Dumbstruck is absolutely shocked, or we can also say dumbfounded sat the gaping frog. So you can imagine a situation where there is no animal or bird which makes a beautiful sound as beautiful as this little nightingale. So when it started singing, everybody was really shocked, and the frog was the one who was the most surprised and shocked animals. Why? Because the sound was very melodious. So he looked at the nightingale with a wide open mouth. And the whole admiring bog, admiring is nothing but respecting, stared towards the sumac rapt. Admiring is respecting, stared is looking fixedly, and rapt is fascinated. So the whole bog family was fascinated by the nightingale's voice. When it started singing, everybody was listening to it with a lot of respect and admiration. And when she had ended, clapped. So everybody applauded when the nightingale had finished its song. Ducks had swum and herons waded to her as she serenaded. So as soon as she started singing, now here there's a lot of personification. Why? Because we do not know if the nightingale is a male or a female, but even then the poet has referred to the bird as she. So it is a personification because we do not know the gender. So ducks and herons, these are the kind of birds, they swam from long distance. They came near the nightingale from remote areas when they heard the nightingale to listen to it. Serenaded is entertained. And a solitary loon wept beneath the summer moon. So we can imagine a bog, and we can imagine night, and we can also imagine this solitary loon. So a foolish person who's alone. Who is a foolish person who's alone and is weeping beneath the summer moon, or we can say weeping near the sumac tree? It's the frog. So there was only one person who was weeping, and that was the frog. Toads and teals, tiddlers, captured by her voice, cheered on and raptured. So even the other animals of the same habitat, the other toads, teals and tiddlers, they were all fascinated by the nightingale's voice, and they shouted, "Bravo, too divine, encore." So the nightingale once more, quite unused to such applause, sang till dawn without a pause. So what happened here? The frog used to own this place, and now here we see a nightingale has actually hijacked this place by its voice and by its singing and by calling on a lot of animals by its voice. And the problem here is the nightingale is very innocent. It has never been exposed to such a respect and so much applause. So as soon as people started clapping for its voice, it started singing even more sharply. Next thing, when the nightingale shook her head and twitched her tail, closed an eye and fluffed a wing, and had cleared her throat to sing. So we can imagine the situation where nightingale has just finished its singing, and the animals are applauding and cheering, and now because the nightingale is feeling great because of the admiration, it shook her head, twitched her tail, closed her eye, and make appear fuller by fluffing itself, and again it started to sing. But what happened here? She was startled by a croak. "Sorry, was that you who spoke?" So as she was singing, the frog didn't like it. The frog is insecure. Why? Because there is some other animal or bird who is actually hijacking this place and who's actually trying to become a hero. So frog, it intentionally interrupted this nightingale, and it said, and it thought actually to croak while nightingale was singing. So It was an unpleasant, loud sound, and the nightingale stopped and inquired, "Is that you, Mr. Frog?" She asked when the frog hopped towards her from the bog. "Yes," the frog replied. "You see, I'm the frog who owns this tree. In this bog, I've long been known for my splendid baritone." So the frog said, "Yes, I just croaked while you were singing because I own this place and people know me from years now. And people know me because of my impressive male singing voice. I'm already a singer in this bog, well known and famous, and I'm getting a lot of respect. So that's why I came here and sang while you were singing. And of course, I wielded my pen for bog trumpet now and then." So the frog is trying to create an impression on the nightingale that it is dominating this place. It uses its pen, so everything is a personification here. So the frog is said to use the pen for bog trumpet now and then, which means maybe writing some melodies, writing some notes for bog trumpet for the shows and events amongst the animals maybe. And the frog is trying to tell the nightingale that it is a pivotal member of the bog and is known for impressive singing voice and has a great name. Did you like my song?" So Nightingale is new to this place, so she believed whatever the frog said, and the nightingale again asked, "Did you like my song?" The frog says, "Not too bad, but far too long. The technique was fine, of course, but it lacked a certain force." Now here, the frog want to defeat the nightingale by any means. So obviously it will never praise. So it started criticizing. Even when the nightingale was wonderful, was blissful, was delightful, was splendid, was amazing, the frog said, "You lacked many things. The technique was fine, but there was no force in it." "Oh," the nightingale confessed, greatly flattered and impressed, that a critic of such note had discussed her art and throat. So when a person is claiming to be master of the particular field in which you are trying to do something, you ask for suggestions. And similarly, when somebody suggests, you get impressed. Why? Because that person might help you improve. So the nightingale thought the frog was an honest person and the frog is helping it to improve. So the nightingale is confessing the frog about its mistake, and there are a couple of words you can learn. Confess is acknowledge, flatter is insincere praise, critic is an unfavorable opinion. So you have critics for the movies as well. Had discussed her art and throat. So Nightingale started discussing her art, discussing her singing with the frog. I sing like this, I sing like that, I use these tones here and there, and then I sing in intonation and in a sing-song voice, because the frog suggested something, but unfortunately that was not for a good reason. I don't think the song's divine, but oh well, at least it's mine. So Nightingale replied the frog that I know that the song might not be very divine, but at least it's a genuine song. I'm not copying, it's my song. The frog says, that's not much to boast about, said the heartless frog. So frog says, don't be so proudy about your singing. It doesn't matter if it's your song or it's someone else's song. Without proper training, such as I and few others can supply, you'll remain a mere beginner. So the frog created a necessity in Nightingale's mind. It said that if you don't get trained from us, the animals of the bog, from the frogs and all, you will never be a master. You will always be a beginner. Or with me, you'll be a winner. If you sing with me, if you obey my suggestions, you will definitely be a winner. Dearest frog, the nightingale breathed, this is a fairy tale and you're Mozart in disguise. Come to earth before my eyes. So Nightingale is really happy about whatever's going on. It is thinking that the frog is actually helping it improve. So it says, you're a Mozart. Mozart was a great composer. And in disguise, so in a different look, in the look of a frog. So you are a great composer in a different look, and you have come to this earth to help me. Well, I charge a modest fee. Oh, but it won't hurt you, you'll see. Now the frog is very smart. It is already thinking of itself as a great singer, where it is not. And when Nightingale is being honest, Nightingale is being happy about the training, the frog also says that, okay, alright, you're generous, you are too kind to praise me, but there's a problem. I charge money for my training, so I will train you and I will help you sing better, but you have to pay me something every hour or every day, however you like it. It's a small fee. So the frog is cunning, and it is not only trying to defeat the Nightingale by its wicked strategy, but also trying to get advantage out of it. Now the Nightingale, inspired, flushed with confidence and fired, with both art and adoration, sang and was a huge sensation. So now we see that Nightingale had just come to the bog at night, and it has already sung once. The animals are here. It is already pleasing to most animals, and animals from far away remote places have already neared the Nightingale. And here we see that the frog also is using its strategy. So this is the second time that the Nightingale will be singing, because it got inspired from the frog's critics. It is excited and it has deep love and respect for the frog. Animals from miles around flocked towards the magic sound, and the frog with great precision counted heads and charged admission. So the frog, he planted a seed of inspiration in the Nightingale to get more money. So animals from all across the globe, all across the bog, they neared the Nightingale, and the frog was acting as a person who would collect money for the show. So he collected money, and animals went on and on, coming inside the bog near the Nightingale. Though next morning it was raining, he began her vocal training. So Nightingale do not speak in all seasons, they speak only in fixed season. So now we have rains. But even while it was raining, now raining is actually the season where frogs come out. Monsoon, frogs come out of the land in monsoon, otherwise they hibernate. They do not like other weathers, but you'll see that whenever it's raining or drizzling, or when it has rained enough, when the water reaches the soil, the frogs come out of their homes because they like the weather. Their skin is moist and the weather is very favorable, but it is not favorable for the Nightingale. So even when it was raining, the frog began the vocal training. He continued. He said, let me train you, let me train you. Keep on the training. Keep the training continued. But I can't sing in this weather. Come on, my dear, we'll sing together. Just put on your scarf and sash. Gu-o-ah, go-ash, go-ash. So the frog is trying to push Nightingale to sing no matter what. The frog knows that the season is not favorable for the Nightingale, but it wants to defeat the Nightingale anyway. So the frog and Nightingale journeyed up and down the scale for 6 hours till she was shivering, and her voice was hoarse and quivering. So here we see that because of the unfavorable weather, the Nightingale was weakening, her health was worsening, but the frog exactly wanted that. The frog constantly told the Nightingale, keep singing, you're going wrong here, you're going wrong there, you can improve, keep singing. So you can imagine if an animal or a person, if he or she keeps on speaking on and on and on, at one point in time the voice becomes unpleasant, the voice becomes becomes boring and annoying. It becomes thick, and with time, sometimes the person or an animal cannot speak at all. Though subdued and sleep deprived, in the night her throat revived, and Sumac-tree was bowed with a breathless, titled crowd. So here we see that the nightingale, it sang because of the frog on and on and on. It was also tired because of the rain, but as the day passed, as the night passed, the throat got refreshed, got revived because of the bodily functions. And again, on the next day, the next night, I can say, it restored to life. It got back to its elements, and finally Nightingale was able to sing again. And it's written that the Sumac-tree had a lot of animals, had a lot of guests because of the wonderful singing. So here, this stanza, focus on this stanza very well. Owl of Sandwich, Duck of Kent, Mallard and Melody, Trent, Martin Cardinal, Mephisto, and the Coot of Monte Cristo. So I mentioned the meanings of each of these words. So here the stanza actually means that royal people also came to listen to the nightingale. So he wants to, the poet wants to give a royal feel to the nightingale's voice. So he is mentioning these terms and these words to create a poetic effect. So we can understand that animals from all across the bog, they came to listen to the nightingale. Ladies with tiaras glittering in the interval sat twittering. So ladies with tiaras, so they were female birds and animals who were already in the audience with tiaras. So it's all personification. These birds are said to wear jeweled ornamental bands, and they all were twittering, means giving a call when the nightingale gave a pause in singing. And the frog observed them glitter with a joy both sweet and bitter. So the frog was the one who wanted to defeat the nightingale. So he watched other animals. He was glad to see them. He was very delighted to see other animals coming to his bog. But the problem was Nightingale was actually defeating the frog right now at this moment, because it was considered more melodious than the frog. So the frog had mixed feeling. He was happy and sad. Songs for Silver tried to scold her. Every day the frog who sold her Songs for Silver tried to scold her. You must practice even longer till your voice like mine grows stronger. In the second song last night, you got nervous in the mid-flight. So you see, the strategy of the frog is to make the nightingale sing so much that at one point its voice gets destroyed. So whenever the nightingale stops, or whenever the nightingale misses a note, the frog would go and scold her. And my dear, lay on more trills. Audience enjoy such frills. You must make your public happier. So the frog is insisting the nightingale to include more vibrating tone, many other features that it has in its voice, so that they can entertain the audience better. Well, again, this is a bad strategy. The frog wants the nightingale to be defeated. Give them something sharper, snappier. We must aim for better billings. So the frog is insisting Nightingale to be even better so that they can earn more. You still owe me 60 shillings. Now we know that the frog also charged the Nightingale for the training. So the frog said, you owe me some money. 1/20th of a pound British coin is called a shilling. Day by day the Nightingale grew more sorrowful and pale. Night on, night her tired song zipped and trilled and bounced along. So here we see that Nightingale was becoming very pale because of constant singing. It was also sorrowful. It was sad. It didn't like the fact that it had to sing on and on. So every night it went on singing, not only in the night but during the daytimes as well, because the frog would scold her whenever she stopped. Zipped and trilled and bounced along till birds and beasts grew tired at a voice so uninspired, and the ticket office gross. So here we see that the nightingale's voice is becoming hoarse, is becoming unpleasant. So the other animals around, they are not really happy about it, and the voice has gotten hoarse, it had gotten rude, crashed, and she grew more ill-tempered. So you can imagine a person or a bird or an animal constantly doing the same thing again and again and again. So the energy goes off. If you keep singing over time, say for 2 days or 3 days, obviously your voice will become morose, your voice will become rude and ill-tempered. So same thing happened with the nightingale, who was constantly singing because of the frog's torture. For her ears were now addicted to applause quite unrestricted. So the nightingale had already become habituated to this applause. So she was constantly trying to sing better, but now she couldn't because its body wasn't supporting. And to sing into the night all alone gave no delight. Now the frog puffed up with rage. Brainless bird, you're on the stage. So as we see, the frog is constantly torturing the nightingale. It knows that the nightingale will die, but that's exactly what the frog wants. So now frog, we know that they puff up when they're angry. So the frog, he puffed up with anger and said, you do not have any brain, you're on the stage, still you're not singing well. So use your quick understanding and follow today's fashion. Throw your extreme fear and pull out your passion. So this is how the frog is constantly insisting the nightingale to not stop and keep singing. And the frog also said that last night you gave no delight at all because your voice was hoarse. You're becoming bad at singing. All I want you to do is kick your fear and pull out your passion. Trembling, terrified to fail, blind with tears, the nightingale heard him out in silence, tried, puffed up, burst in vain, and died. So the nightingale actually thought that what the frog was saying was true. And because of this, even when the nightingale's body and lungs and the vocal cord did not support singing, it still forced itself. So what happened? Its vein bursted and died. Said the frog, I tried to teach her, but she was a stupid creature, far too nervous, far too tense, far too prone to influence. So the strategy worked. The frog, it won over the nightingale by its smart strategy to teach her to sing like itself. But the frog was aware that it is not the nightingale's capability, and hence it died. So the frog is telling everyone that what a stupid creature it was. It was very nervous, it was too tensed, and it did not have the capability to influence everyone like I did. So I am now the master of the bog again, and now I will entertain you all. So the other animals, they are already aware who is the best entertainer, but this is like being overconfident. The frog is overconfident and it is not aware that the animals are hating him so badly. So friends, this was all about the poem. I hope you understood. It's very interesting, and there are a lot of hard words you can learn. If you have any doubts, do mention them in comment section. Do subscribe to get my latest updates, and I will be happy to help. Thank you, and I hope you have a wonderful day ahead.